Inside Hoops in Columbia, South Carolina, but they do not mind. The reigning national champions are at home. They're the #3 team in the country, getting set to face a Duke team that has its highest ranking since 2014. What a battle this should be in Colonial Life Arena tonight. We're excited to welcome you to the SEC ACC Women's Challenge for this top 10 matchup. These two conferences outstanding. We get to see them continue to battle on the court. South Carolina has won 61 straight home games. Do they continue that streak tonight? Let's go. Courtney Lyle alongside the Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. We expect this game to be a close one. Why?
Well, we have South Carolina, who has 11 returning players that won a national championship. This Duke team, they are much improved. They are averaging almost 15 more points per game. So it's not just the defense. They try to turn you over, but they're making baskets this year, and that could be put a lot of pressure on South Carolina's defense.
A 9 o'clock local tip, but the crowd does not mind. They call them the Fams, and they have led the nation in attendance the last 10 years. The SEC against the ACC. Let's do it. And South Carolina controls the opening tip. Raven Johnson will set things up for the Gamecocks.
And Duke will start in a man-to-man defense. And this is an issue for South Carolina. They've gotten off to slow starts offensively, so we'll see how quick they can put points on the board.
Duke has been known for their defense under Carol Lawson, but this season they have added the offensive piece. 4th in the ACC in points per game, scoring over 83 points a game.
Keeping my eye on #3 and #24 in blue, Ashlyn Jackson and Reagan Richardson.
And the bucket goes up and in from Delaney Thomas. You see the South Carolina starting 5. They got 2 point guards on the floor, Te-Hina Pow or Raven Johnson, who's controlling the ball right now.
There was a lot of coverage in the shoot-around of moving the ball and getting driving opportunities for Bree Hall.
And Bree Hall drives and picks up the first foul, goes against Reagan Richardson, who is their leading scorer, and she is the National Player of the Week.
I think that's a strategy of South Carolina because Richardson having to go to the bench early, look, that's like an added advantage for South Carolina.
Yeah, she averages 15 points a game. Aluchi Akanawa will check in for her. Jaden Donovan leading the break. Ashlyn Jackson looking for the transition 3, too much.
Both these teams want to get up and down.
Bree Hall looking. South Carolina making an effort to get the ball to their bigs more.
Well, South Carolina has a size advantage in the post inside. Jordan Wood, who is on the bench for Duke, is 6'4". She's the tallest player on their team.
Akanawa picks up her first foul for Duke. And talking to Carol Lawson, Duke's head coach, before this game, the size matchup was a concern for Duke. How do you combat that, the size of South Carolina? I mean, it's across the board and coming off the bench. Chloe Kitts cut into the rack and finishes the bucket. Here's the Duke starting 5. No changes here, but you see Reagan Richardson, their leading scorer, already on the bench picking up that first foul. Donovan gets it at the elbow. Excuse me, Thomas gets it at the elbow.
Thomas having to play the 5 because of the lack of size.
And Jaden Donovan with the nice bucket there. Duke up by 2. Bree Hall in the corner. That's a good sign for Bree Hall.
No slow start for the Gamecocks tonight.
That was a problem in their only loss of the season to UCLA. South Carolina found themselves trailing 15-2 in the blink of an eye.
Now the ball movement and the body movement. First, you've got Chloe Kitts after the screen, slip to the basket. Terrific finish. And to see Bree Hall knock down a perimeter shot early, that's huge for South Carolina.
Up and in with a chef's kiss.
And Te-Hina Pow, she stayed for her 5th year, honed her skills, because in the WNBA, like point guard, that's a coveted position by most GMs.
Where do you think her skills are right now when it comes to being a WNBA prospect?
I'm going to tell you, her #1 skill is between her ears. Very smart, a cerebral point guard. And to add to that, I mean, she led the nation in three-point shooting last year.
Fagan saves it, kicks back out to Te-Hina Pow. Starting her career at Oregon before coming to South Carolina last year. Raven Johnson in the corner, it rolls out. Chloe Kitts, offensive rebound. South Carolina is 6th in the nation in offensive rebounds per game.
They've had to pick up the slack. Remember last year they had Camila Cardoso that was getting a lot of those offensive rebounds. So now Kitts is doing so, Fagan doing so. You'll see Ashlyn Watkins and Joyce Edwards come in off the bench to do so as well.
Okonawa misses the turnaround. 8-0 run for the Gamecocks. Johnson showing her physicality. It's getting loud. There's going to be a foul on Bree Hall, her first.
South Carolina makes their living by creating extra opportunities on the offensive glass, and I think it's key that Raven Johnson get going early on the offensive end, and doing so, attacking the basket.
Yeah, Raven Johnson's numbers this season offensively have not been great. She's only shooting 22% from the field, but trying to dig herself out of that.
Yeah, only averaging about almost 4 points a game. Last year she was on that revenge tour because after Caitlin Clark waved her off, she worked on that offensive game.
They only went 38-0 and won a national championship.
It worked.
Nice move by Te-Hina Mayer. In her 2nd season with Duke after transferring in from Boston College. Johnson will take the 3 again. There it is. Let her shoot. South Carolina is 3 for 4 from 3-point range. Okonawa trying to cut inside. Chloe Kitts, Ashlyn Jackson both there. Tied up, possession arrow, keeps it with the Blue Devils. Subs coming in for South Carolina, Malaysia Fulwiley and Tessa Johnson. What impact does Tessa Johnson have when she checks in?
Money. I'm going to tell you, Tessa Johnson is money. When she catches it, lines it up, she can knock that shot down.
Three seconds. Mayer trying to create space. High arcing 3. No.
I think South Carolina's biggest weapon, depth. Because Dawn Staley has gone to her bench and she's just added points on the floor. All of these 5 players here can make it happen.
Wave off the bucket, but Malaysia Fulwiley is fouled. That foul will go against Ashlyn Jackson. The threes are falling.
Yeah, and since the UCLA game, South Carolina's played inside out. Let the post touch it. They're willing passers, and now Raven Johnson knocking it down.
Gamecocks got the fast start they wanted. They are on a 13-2 run. How have they done it?
Well, look, they already have 4 different players that have scored the basketball, but they have played inside out, playing through the paint. And I think that's important. That good start, they got 15 points in the first 5 minutes. That's the most points they have scored in the first 5 minutes of the game all season long.
It was a problem in their only loss of the season to UCLA. They bounced back, though, and won 2 games in a row, including getting a ranked win over Iowa State last weekend.
Oh, they shot out of the cannon against Iowa State. And very stingy. Didn't give up less than 40 points to Iowa State.
So there's going to be a foul before South Carolina can inbound the basketball. That goes against Jordan Wood of Duke. Maddie McDaniel to inbound, the freshman point guard. Ashlyn Watkins misses the shot, but Chloe Kitts is going to help her and get the basketball back. Kitts trying to work on Fournier, over to Tessa Johnson. And South Carolina's going to drive it.
You asked me about Tessa Johnson. What does she bring to the floor? She is money. She is efficient with her scoring. Yes, she's a three-point shooter, but if the defense comes at her, she's going to drive it.
Nothing like an overtime game in the SEC-ACC Challenge. Notre Dame getting the win. We now bring you to Columbia, South Carolina. Courtney Lyle and Carolyn Peck with you. The Gamecocks out to a big start. Important because, Coach Peck, they had struggled with slow starts this season.
They did, and in the first 5 minutes of this game, 5 minutes, they scored 15 points. A lot of teams, sometimes it takes you a full first quarter to score 15.
How have they been getting those points?
They've been playing through the paint. That's been a point of emphasis from Dawn Staley since that UCLA game. We saw it against Iowa State. We saw it against Purdue. They brought it tonight to start the game against Duke.
South Carolina has already hit 3 three-pointers. And South Carolina using their depth too. They've already subbed out all 5 starters, a fresh 5 in, as Duke tries to find its way through this South Carolina defense. Jayden Donovan driving, and Malaysia Fulwiley is going to be whistled for the foul. This South Carolina program, the last 4 seasons, the record is incredible, 116-4. 3 of those 4 losses were by fewer than 5 points.
Well, and picked up a couple of national championships along the way.
Yeah, just a casual, 3 now total national titles for Dawn Staley at South Carolina. Joyce Edwards, the coveted freshman, misses the shot. Rebound by Toby Fournier, another top freshman who was number 10 overall. And there's a travel. This Duke program under Kara Lawson has been known for its defense, but this year the offense stepping up.
Yeah, last year they put up about 68 points a game. Up until this game, they were averaging 83 points a game. They've got to find their offense against South Carolina, and they're going to have to play 5 out, moving, cutting, ball screen, and let the ball pop.
Yeah, because South Carolina definitely has a height advantage in this game. Maddie McDaniel! That's a freshman.
When you look at South Carolina's roster, their second 5 could start for most programs in the country. I mean, this is a freshman right here who is learning the confidence of when to call her own number. She is a willing passer. I talked to Dawn and shoot around this morning, and I said, I just love the way that the decision-making of Maddie, and she said, listen, Maddie distributes when her number is called. A lot of times it's because I've given her that instruction to take over.
Yeah, she'd much rather get her teammate involved. And that's going to be a turnover by Duke. Second in the nation is South Carolina in bench points. Maddie McDaniel told us too at shoot-around today, she chose South Carolina because she wanted to play for a point guard. And that would be Dawn Staley. She loved watching footage of Dawn from her playing days.
Well, she had to watch footage because she probably wasn't.
Yeah, she's a baby.
When Dawn played.
Offensive foul against Tessa Johnson. Te-Hina Mayer stepping up.
Mayer moves her feet. Man, I think that should have been a no call. Just let him play.
Throw inside to Toby Fournier, who's number 10 overall in this year's freshman class.
Now, I like this freshman for Duke.
Look at her battle underneath, too.
And talk about getting some ups. She's got a vertical.
Tessa Johnson going after Mayer again. This time she'll get herself to the free throw line. That'll be the first against Mayer. Well, Dawn Staley, she's got a lot of talent. That bench production was so important last year in going 38-0 and winning the 3rd national championship in school history.
Well, when you recruit in players like Tessa Johnson, who's at the free throw line now, man, wasn't she special in the Final Four?
I mean, Final Four all-tournament team.
Well, 19 points in that final championship game. She came in off the bench and just lit it up from the three-point line.
Dealt with a bit of an ankle injury earlier in the season, but back and obviously ready to go. It is a 21-5 run over the last 6.5 minutes. This is Vanessa De Jesus trying to set things up for Duke. They haven't scored in 2 minutes. Okanawa kicks to the corner to Janessa Cotton. And it's taken away. Important to note, Reagan Richardson, who is the leading scorer for Duke, is on the bench with a foul.
Tessa Johnson just can turn the game up another level. Running in transition, what I love about her game is, yes, she knows that she can shoot the three, but she doesn't live and die by it. She takes advantage of opportunities that present themselves.
Tessa Johnson, 4 points. South Carolina's gotten 10 points off of its bench. Tessa Johnson contributing to that.
I love her personality. We watched her shoot around today. She was messing with every coach. She had something to say. And just, she plays with such joy.
Kara Lawson in her 5th season. This Duke team, we talked about the added offensive improvement. It's gotten them their highest AP ranking since 2014. They've already beaten 2 ranked opponents in K-State. Then they took Oklahoma, a team that returned all 5 starters, to overtime and won that game.
Well, Oklahoma's a team that, remember just last night, they knocked off Louisville.
That feels like 2 weeks ago.
I know. But that's a solid basketball team that's got great depth, but the defense, this full court pressure, and listen, Duke can get themselves back in the game with the pressure with still score action.
Pow pow. Bang bang. Gamecocks 4 for 5 from deep. Fournier in trouble under the basket. Okanawa up top to De Jesus. Largest deficit of the season for the Duke Blue Devils. Jesus with the jumper. And the Gamecocks can take the last shot of the quarter. They have hit their last 3 shots. Johnson in the corner. Trying to dump off to Ashlyn Watkins. And Toby Fournier shuts her down, and a little talking after that play. But South Carolina, they packed their 3-point shot for this late night game.
Well, playing inside out, and why not? When you got shooters like this, Te-Hina pow pow. 2 for 2 from the 3-point line as led to the second.
Well, over the last 11 seasons, Dawn Staley has taken the South Carolina program to 6 Final Fours. She has won 3 national titles. And on Monday, they got their championship rings and their SEC championship rings. They had the T-shirts that said "Ring Us." They also wore ring pops. The ring, it lists all 3 national titles on it. And actually, the top of the ring comes off, and you can use it as a pendant. And underneath that, once you take it off, is an image of the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which is where the Final Four was, where they won a championship.
Change up your wardrobe. You can wear it on your hand. You can wear it around your neck. There's no, like, I can understand the look on those players' faces when they open the box. You see that much bling.
Let's go.
That's nice.
South Carolina program had won 43 straight games until the loss to UCLA last week. Sanaya Fagan with the bucket. So a big problem for Duke in that first quarter was that their leading scorer, Reagan Richardson, picked up an early foul and had to take a seat. She is back on the floor, number 24 in blue. She's the AP National Player of the Week. That shot short from Richardson.
You said not played long. She did not play a complete minute. Only 58 seconds in that first quarter.
Facts. Johnson off to Fagan on the roll.
Ball movement is so good for South Carolina. They're so unselfish. They're taking advantage of what is presented to them. As long as you can get the ball to the post, they got to ride that train all day long.
8 different players have scored for South Carolina. Trying to get the ball to Richardson, and there's going to be a foul. That'll go against Sanaya Fagan, her first.
Just the give and go two-man game with Sanaya Fagan and Tessa Johnson.
Chloe Kitts checks in for South Carolina. For this Duke team offensively, what do you want to see them work on going against South Carolina's defense?
What they've got to do is space the floor. Yeah, pull the bigs away from the basket. And then not only does the ball need to move, but bodies move. Because you know South Carolina's going to bring pressure defense, create opportunities where you can get backdoor cuts and get something going to the rim to make the defense shrink. Then your three-point shot will be more open.
Mayer out of bounds, and that gives the ball to South Carolina. Richardson almost had the takeaway.
Well, and that's where Duke has gotten back into games when they found themselves behind the full court pressure. Steal, score, get right back into it.
Inbound to Pow Pow. Trying to go coast to coast. Hard to step around the defense of Duke in the paint. Ashlyn Jackson, transition, got it. Second three tonight for Duke.
And that's what you cannot do against Duke's pressure. Once you break it, then force a tough shot, because if you miss and everybody's running one direction, the Duke Blue Devils are heading to their own basket.
Yeah, they love to play with pace. We asked Dawn Staley about that. She felt fine playing with pace or settling into the half court, however the game went.
Well, she feels confident in her team that they can play in the half court if need be.
Well, Sunday night, this is the best women's college basketball matchup on the schedule. Top 10 battle between the South Carolina team and Haley Van Lith and TCU. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 6 Central in Fort Worth on ESPN2 and ESPN+. TCU, a program that's jumping up in the rankings.
Well, Sedona Prince, she has been healthy so far this season. They also have a three-point shooter by the name of Madison Connor that can flat out knock it down.
And Haley Van Lith, of course, transferring from LSU over to TCU. South Carolina used a 17-2 run in the first quarter to jump ahead. Fagan, the kick to the corner. Malaysia, Fulwiley, no. There's Te-Hina Mayer. Over to Jackson. Jordan Wood elevates at the free throw line, won't get the roll.
But I like the spacing much better by Duke, the opportunities that they're getting.
Duke only shooting 32% from the field. Meanwhile, South Carolina, 62%. High-low. Fagan to Chloe Kitts. Duke going fast. Jackson blocked by Fagan.
Staple of the South Carolina offense is if you allow the ball in the middle of the floor, they will eat you alive with the high-low and then driving to the basket. What has South Carolina been? A shot-blocking team. You had Camila Cardoso, Aaliyah Boston, who's here tonight, and Sanaya Fagan. She's part of those swatters as well.
Yeah, already 3 blocks tonight for South Carolina. Turnover by Fulwiley into the hands of Ashlyn Jackson. Mayer, Thomas. Full team effort for Duke.
Duke has not gone away. They will continue to play hard. I mean, that's what you're going to get from a Carol Lawson team. And they know with good defense, they can get themselves right back into this game.
Defense has been the cornerstone of this program for Carol Lawson and Duke. Chloe Kitts just having her way underneath the basket. 8.7 boards for Kitts. Wood, swish. Jordan Wood, who has made great strides as a sophomore.
She barely got off the bench last year, but she has gone to work in the offseason, getting stronger, working on her game, learning how to focus mentally on what you've got to concentrate on. And I like to watch the way she and Carol Lawson communicate. I've been watching film on those, and Carol Lawson said she's a funny kid.
Yeah.
And she said you can tell her a joke during the game, and she will get it, laugh, and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah, they will continue a conversation as the game is going on. Apparently, also, there was a heated Uno battle between the two on the airplane on the way here.
Talking junk, but Coach Lawson said it was respectful. Yes.
Trash talk, respectfully. Duke started 4 of 15, now 5 for 10 as they try to catch up to South Carolina. Jackson using the screen. Donovan hitting Delaney. Thomas cutting to the basket.
It may not be Reagan Richardson that's scoring the points, but having her presence on the floor has made the offense work for Duke.
Well, South Carolina's defense has to respect her.
Absolutely. So it spreads it out. And that spacing that happens, then you just play composed and you'll get the shots that you want.
There's going to be a foul against Delaney Thomas. Duke is on a 9-2 run right now.
They're chipping away, moving the basketball, sharing the sugar a little bit. And when you do that, that can help you get right back in this thing.
Zubin, thank you. It has been so much fun watching these games. That overtime game, Notre Dame and Texas. I mean, Hidalgo dropped 30, okay. This game, South Carolina jumped out to a quick lead, but right now Duke on a 9-2 run, a 12-4 run overall.
Having Reagan Richardson back on the floor, the defense has spread and given Duke room to work. But Duke had 12 points in the first quarter. They had 12 in the first 5 minutes of this second.
Bree Hall trying to drive in, and that's going to go Duke's way as she's whistled for the offensive foul. It was Delaney Thomas stepping up and taking the charge. Second against Bree Hall. Maddie McDaniel back in for the Gamecocks. South Carolina has led by as many as 20 tonight. De Jesus looking for something to open up. Reagan Richardson in the paint, gets blocked by Chloe Kitts. Inside to Joyce Edwards, freshman to freshman. Looks pretty good. She was a 2-time high school national player of the year. Joyce Edwards.
The maturity that number 8 in white has on the floor, a post patience inside.
Started playing high school basketball as a 7th grader.
Well, and understand this, she's not just a post player, she can play the wing.
Tessa Johnson too much. And this is going to stay with South Carolina.
Check this out. Joyce Edwards sizes up the defense. Look, she left got taken away, crossed back over and finished with the right. Not too many freshmen coming to their freshman year with the ability to make those kind of moves.
We've gotten to speak with her a couple of times, and Joyce very mature also. She said growing up there were no sports allowed unless she got good grades, so she works really hard in the classroom.
What'd she say she was? A nerd.
Yeah, a little nerd. A little nerd off the court. She wants to be an environmental lawyer. Oh my goodness! Maddie McDaniel just swiped that out of the air and go to the free throw line. If that had gone in, CLA, this arena would have erupted.
Look, this freshman point guard is something special. She has a knack for the game. Anticipation skills are great. She's just savvy with and without the basketball.
McDonald's All-American, number 14 overall. Rolls out. Well, we got a top 10 men's college basketball matchup this Saturday night on ESPN2 and the app. Kentucky and Gonzaga in Seattle. Coverage begins at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Kentucky picking up their first loss of the season, actually against Clemson.
Can we go back to Maddie McDaniel?
Anytime you want.
Number 1 in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio.
Yes, she is.
That's a 7. She has a 7.
She's had 3 games without a turnover. Makanawa, no underneath, but they gave her a second chance, and she'll finish. That's her first bucket tonight. Pow feeding Edwards. Back to Pow, right down Main Street.
But the pass from your post, that's impressive.
Yeah. Oh, the answer. Reagan Richardson only played 1 minute in the first quarter due to foul trouble. She's their leading scorer.
Oh, Watkins wasn't ready for that one. But Reagan Richardson, she averages 15 points a game. She needs more of this to get Duke back into this game. Check this out. This is a freshman. Not an overhead pass, not a panic pass, but a bounce pass to Pow cutting to the basket.
By the way, those were the first points for Reagan Richardson of Duke. Joyce Edwards gets the roll. Ashton Watkins says, give me that basketball. Watkins all the way, the steal, the score. Pow the steal. Giving it up to the freshman, and she's fouled. Jaden Donovan, her first.
Here's next level for South Carolina. This is a post player leading the break. Guard's not waiting on it, saying post, you go. And Watkins can get up in the air and then make up her mind what she wants to do with it, because she hangs there for a minute or two.
She could also dunk the basketball. She has done it twice. Once as a freshman and then once last year.
You saw it live.
I did.
I'm jealous.
Peck thought she was there. She was not.
I felt like it.
Yeah. You throw down a lot of dunks at Vanderbilt?
No. I'm just not even gonna.
You have nothing to say to that?
Yeah. My vertical was a credit card test. This is 6'3" right now. Picking up full court.
Joyce Edwards. Take a bow. Run. A desperately needed bucket by Toby Fournier.
Future's bright, though, for South Carolina. If I can go back to Joyce Edwards with that Euro step. Good gracious. She's telling Dawn Staley, I need a break. When you playing this hard, you've earned that break. Check this out, Euro, and the finish. Woo, man. That's something else.
South Carolina is going to take a quick timeout. We are back in 30 seconds.
South Carolina on a roll. A lot of it has to do with this freshman, Joyce Edwards. What a spark. And Courtney, look at that. That Euro step.
Pretty. When you time her up, she's second fastest on the team behind Malaysia Fulwiley, and she's got the fancy footwork to go with it.
That's saying something when you can keep up with this with the speed of Fulwiley.
"15 seconds. Fagan now at the high post. And Sanaya Fagan got herself to the free throw line. That'll be the second on Jordan Wood.
Don Staley told us that the adjustment to playing without Camila Cardoso is that their post players, they're not 6'7", but they've got to be more imposing. And I feel like Fagan, Watkins, Chloe Kitts, Joyce Edwards, they're bringing a post presence that's different than just size, because they've got the quickness, they've got the athleticism, they've got the strength to play in the paint.
Yeah, last couple of years, they could just throw it up to 6'7" Camila Cardoso underneath. A 10-2 run for South Carolina. Mayer off the screen. Blocked by Ashlyn Watkins. Third block tonight for Watkins, fifth for South Carolina. 3.2 on the clock. Richardson. And she will be fouled by Tessa Johnson. Her second.
You know, when you read the scouting report, you're worried about who you have to guard. Well, when you're playing against South Carolina, you got to worry about who you got to score against. And if Ashlyn Watkins is between you and the basket, you probably need to make the decision to pass, because she can just get up and block it.
Ashlyn Swatkins.
That's it.
There it is. Reagan Richardson misses. She's their leading scorer, held to just 2 points in this first half. Picked up an early foul, only played less than a minute in the first quarter. 1 of 2. South Carolina up by 20 at the half. A 17-2 run set the tone in the first quarter, and the Gamecocks up big on Duke. Let's get you back to Zubin and Andrea in the studio. Welcome back to the SEC ACC Women's Challenge. Halftime here. We're getting set for the third quarter, and the South Carolina Gamecocks have a 20-point lead over the number 8 team in the nation. 51-31 is our score. How do they do that scoring? Well, they've been running a lot of things through the paint. They've got 30 paint points, plus shooting 61% from the field.
Well, and they've done so by going high-low, getting the ball in the middle of the floor, getting the ball to their post players. But the post players have also been willing passers to find the three-point shooters. So they've had a little bit of balance inside and out. Duke's got to stop the ball from going into the paint and make South Carolina maybe settle for some jumpers.
South Carolina was able to jump out to an early lead thanks to a 17-2 run in that first quarter. Reagan Richardson was sidelined quickly with a foul. Powell for Duke. She was their leading scorer, and that's when South Carolina was able to jump ahead.
Well, when you look at the difference between the first quarter and the second quarter, it's the amount of time that Richardson was on the floor, because that second quarter was only a 4-point difference. Now, they've got to make that up in this second half, and I think it all starts on the defensive end. You can't let South Carolina get the ball in the paint.
So how do they make that adjustment? What do you want to see from Duke defensively?
I think you've either got to look at some zone action or a sagging man. Now, you can't sag off a Te-Hina Pow, and I know Raven Johnson has knocked down some shots, but listen, as long as you're letting the ball go inside in the paint, South Carolina's been able to get whatever they want. So you got to change things up a little bit.
30 paint points for South Carolina. They average 44 a game. Well, time to see what adjustments Duke has made. Reagan Richardson thought about calling for it on the block, said no. Worked to get herself open, but turned over the basketball. It's 11 turnovers now for Duke.
This is the presence of Fagan inside. She helped 2 of her teammates through that whole defensive series.
Fagan back to Raven Johnson. Loses control, somehow finds Te-Hina Pow, and she crushes it. Largest lead for the Gamecocks. Waiting in the corner, Ashlyn Jackson.
But keep an eye on number 20 in white, Sanaya Fagan. She's helping everybody, anybody that cuts through the lane.
Double team Jackson. Chloe Kitts with the hard hedge. Back to her assignment as the bucket knocked down by Delaney Thomas. She's got 8.
Now, if I'm Duke right now, everybody whose person doesn't have the ball, I have a foot in the paint. Because when South Carolina's allowed the ball to get right there, forget about it.
And Fagan just going over the top of the defense. South Carolina has made its last 6 shots. There's Reagan Richardson, the National Player of the Week, short on the shot. And possession arrow pointing to South Carolina. Richardson just 3 points in this game, one of those coming from the free throw line.
And I just saw Dawn Staley look at Fagan clapping her hands at number 20 in white with her rotation and how she's policing the paint area when South Carolina's on defense.
Dawn Staley has talked about how Sanaya Fagan has to be solid on both ends of the floor. They want her to be active. That's on Te-Hina Pow, her first.
Pow doesn't understand it. I think Breezy Hall talked the official out of that one because she looked at the official and said, "That's not me, right?"
Does that work?
I doubt it. I think the officials see it, they make the call, and that's it.
Forcing a turnover, Chloe Kitts will finish the play. 10 points for Kitts. She's a rebound away from a double-double.
Look, Te-Hina Pow, that was an area she came back in her 5th season to work on her defense. And Dawn Staley said when a player verbalizes that you want to step up defensively, you can hold yourself accountable.
Verbalizes that and then seeing it on the floor. That's what stood out to Dawn Staley, that she's executing that defense. Te-Hina Mayer with the bucket. She's got 9. This is Pow, number 0 in white. A WBCA honorable mention All-American last season. Her first season at South Carolina. Oh, ooh, hit the deck hard. Second on Donovan.
South Carolina came out of the locker room aggressive defensively with the hard hedge from Chloe Kitts, and Raven Johnson with the heads-up play. Get the ball down the floor and get the easy 2.
Chloe Kitts has just continued to grow. She enrolled early in 2023, joined the team in December. So last season, her first full season. And South Carolina runs out of time.
But what Chloe Kitts did in this offseason is really commit to her nutrition and getting in the weight room. She even lifts on game day, and she doesn't miss it. She is committed to continuing to get stronger.
Yeah, we talked to their strength coach, Molly Benetti, and she said the biggest thing was fueling her because Chloe Kitt's naturally a slender person, but she wants to battle in the paint. So adding weight was important.
Look, Kitt has the mental toughness. She wants to get in there and mix it up with the strongest ones.
Pow back to Kitts. Showing off that strength through contact, finishing.
That's just tough right there. And watch how she protects the ball. The pull through on the drive, gets it away from the defense, and then a nice touch high off the glass.
She was number 17 overall coming out of high school. That's the third on Delaney Thompson of Duke. Mayer, the kick out, she was trying to get to Richardson. You know, speaking of getting in the weight room, the South Carolina coaching staff has a unique tradition. Every game day, you see Molly Benetti there. She puts together a workout that the entire staff does. Dawn Staley, Lisa Boyer getting after it. We had to see this morning how tough this workout was. Look, the South Carolina staff, they get after it.
You think Dawn Staley is intense on the sideline? She is just as intense in the workout room. She gets after it. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I saw Dawn Staley doing box jumps this morning.
Let's go. The rebound, the putback by Akanawa. I mean, Coach Peck, did you ever have a game day lift with your staff and any of the levels that you coached?
Well, didn't do it as a staff, but everybody got in the weight room or did their treadmill cardio workout in the morning.
Pretty cool tradition for South Carolina.
Do some bonding.
That's going to be a held ball, possession arrow pointing to Duke. There's Molly Benetti, who's the strength coach here at South Carolina. We talked about her work with Chloe Kitts and also how she's getting the staff ready for game day.
Well, you look at the fitness also of Raven Johnson, Te-Hina Pow from last season to this season. No resting on your laurels after winning a national championship. Players want more, a little more committed in the offseason as they approach this season.
Look, Alyssa Lang, our coworker, is asking, did Champ also work out?
Champ was there this morning.
Foul against Joyce Edwards, her second. South Carolina in control here in the SEC ACC Women's Challenge. Well, it's V Week here at ESPN, where we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. And unfortunately, both of our families have been impacted by cancer.
Well, and just recently, I lost one of my uncles, Uncle James Dean. Now, he lived to be 95, but he was just recently, about a year ago, diagnosed with lymphoma. But it is so important, if you can, to donate for cancer research. I don't know anybody whose family cancer has not touched. And, you know, to take Uncle James Dean from us, that was tough. That was tough. Sweetest man you'll ever meet. Never heard him raise his voice. All of us nieces and nephews just adored him.
100% of your donation going directly to cancer research. So if you can, please help us so that we don't have to share these stories of cancer anymore. We can eradicate it. You can visit v.org/donate if you're able. Please help. Vanessa De Jesus at the free throw line. Fouled by Maddie McDaniel, her second, and that one up and in. And Duke forcing the turnover off of the inbounds with their press. Joyce Edwards got it back for South Carolina. Fulwiley turnover.
Fulwiley only played 8 minutes in that first half. He's got to settle in. Duke is a team that can make you play fast and try to be the benefactor off your turnovers.
South Carolina, okay to play fast if they're scoring, but also fine to slow it down and play in the half court. Jaden Donovan here. De Jesus covered up by Fulwiley. Pulls up for the jumper a bit too much, but the rebound, the putback in midair from Jaden Donovan.
Duke, shots like that from De Jesus, if you can get position, offensive rebounding, you can chip away and get yourself back into this game.
7-0 run for the Blue Devils. Maddie McDaniel.
Oh, wow.
Back the other way, though. Oluchi Akanawa. Up to 8 points for Akanawa. So was the ACC 6th Woman of the Year last season, the first to get that honor at Duke. She's got 6 points this quarter.
The energy that she plays with, and she's constantly running the floor.
Eight seconds, shot clock did not reset. Fulwiley misses the lay-in.
And Don's gonna let this young group on the floor figure things out.
Donovan misses and Ashlyn Watkins gets the board. Where do you think South Carolina's depth is compared to last season?
I think that it is, I mean, they've got even more talent, especially with the two freshmen that are on the floor right now. And then the experience that you have with Tessa Johnson and Malaysia Fulwiley, who went to a national championship.
I mean, Maddie McDaniel can just take it to the hoop. Fournier held up down low, possession arrow to South Carolina. The bench for South Carolina, second in the nation in bench points. Look at the rebounds too they're getting from their bench. Almost 21 rebounds a game.
Almost 48% of their rebounding comes from the reserves, not the starting lineup. And you've got Ashlyn Watkins and Joyce Edwards. They are two of the top 3 rebounders for South Carolina, and they don't start.
As a coach, what is the biggest benefit of having that production coming in off the bench?
If you get off to a slow start, you know what's coming.
Watkins just driving on Toby Fournier, the freshman, right over her.
You know what it's like? It's like when you got a $10 bill in your purse, so you know that if you run out of money, you got something to go to.
I guess I should start carrying cash.
maybe it's like a debit card. I should have said.
There you go. There it is.
But you got to know that you got money in the bank.
Or you got Venmo on your phone.
Little cash app.
Yeah. Daniel didn't see anything, so they'll swing it around. Tessa Johnson comes to get it. 5 seconds. Fulwiley shaking the defense, bounces out. Fresh shot clock. And Fournier is going to foul Ashlyn Watkins. SEC Network's got you covered in Atlanta. Huge weekend. SEC Championship game on Saturday with a 4-hour pregame. Noon Eastern, Marty and McGee, followed by SEC Nation, then the Skycast version of the game. After the game, full breakdown with player and coach interviews. You know, we were in Athens yesterday.
Yeah.
Georgia Bulldogs are fired up.
They are fired up, and a lot of people think that second time around it's going to be Georgia that comes out the victor. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Longhorns are going to win the SEC championship.
I love to watch whatever quarterback Texas wants to play. I'm here to watch it. Either Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning.
Arch Manning, let me tell you, his strength, his ability to run the football.
You know, he's got good genes.
You think?
Yeah. Turnover into the hands of Tessa Johnson.
His uncles were pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say his grandfather's pretty good, too.
Well, where he's got his name from.
Yeah. South Carolina can hold for the last shot of the quarter. They have controlled this game right from the start. They scored 28 points in the first quarter.
Fulwiley needs something good to happen.
I'd say that's good. And her teammates will hype her up.
Malaysia Fulwiley hadn't scored all game. Needed a wow moment, and she found it at the end of the third quarter. Just like that.
And guess what? The SEC up right now, 7-5. You need 9 wins to clinch. Last season, they were tied at 7 wins apiece.
You didn't like that.
No, I think that's boring. I think somebody needs to win.
How about that just says how competitive women's basketball is over these two conferences?
Okay, way to spin that.
You know, I'm here for you.
Right now, other games going on. Missouri up, Cal up, and Stanford up. South Carolina up here in Columbia by 20. Whoa!
Malaysia Fulwiley has had a tough first half, this second half. The end of third quarter, she hit the bucket now to start the fourth with a defensive presence. Okay, number 12.
If Tom Mendoza wants her to try out for the South Carolina volleyball team, that was a pretty good kill. They're playing in the NCAA tournament. Running out of time, and the shot off by Ashlyn Jackson. Duke with a second opportunity. Jackson for 3. There it is. Look, Duke matched them, South Carolina, in the third quarter, 17 points apiece. The problem was South Carolina had such a big lead already. They've led by as many as 25 tonight.
Well, and Dawn Staley has 1 junior on the floor, 2 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. She's shown a lot of trust in the young folks on her team. And now, how do you handle playing with a lead and a Duke team that's not just going to lay down and go away?
And you know, on the other side, Kara Lawson told us before this game she wanted to see how do her players handle this environment? How do they handle if they're down? How do they handle if they have the lead?
She's looking at it as an opportunity for you to be revealed of who you are. You know, their first 9 games played pretty well. She didn't even realize how much of an improvement offensively they've been, because she's like, how many games have we played? But she knew that the challenge of playing South Carolina would help you understand how good or what you need to work on.
Well, Dawn and Kara Lawson know what it's like to compete against each other, not just as coaches, but as players. Their record, they were even. Matchup, going head-to-head, 5 for 5 in the WNBA.
That's Dawn Staley with the Houston Comets. She played for the Charlotte Sting. Those are the teams that I remember Don Staley with. Wanda Matt and Joey Stinson.
When Duke has been able to put their press on, how do you think South Carolina's handled it?
For the most part, I think it's been pretty good. How many turnovers? They have only 11 turnovers with a team that's bringing that full court pressure. Well, now that's up to 12.
Here's Donovan. Kick to the corner to Mayer. Yes! Te-Hina Mayer. 9-1 run for the Blue Devils. South Carolina's got 5 subs waiting at the table.
Duke try to get this into single digits.
Uh-oh! Here come the Blue Devils. Donovan again. And South Carolina is going to take a timeout. Don Staley's going to put the starters back in this ball game. They've cut it to 10.
Duke said, this ain't over till it's over. And they have kept up with the intensity. They hang their hats on their defense and then transition to offense. So far, this has worked. Look, it's only a 10-point game. This thing ain't over.
Duke surging to start the fourth quarter. They're on an 8-0 run. They have trailed by as many as 25 points, but they've cut it to 10.
Duke out-rebounding South Carolina in this fourth quarter, 5-0. And when looking at the rebounding category, Duke is out-rebounding South Carolina as a total by 6.
Third foul whistled against Jaden Donovan. Don Staley subbed back in all 5 starters in that timeout. Raven Johnson will try the other side. Bree Hall. That's going to be an offensive foul against Bree Hall. Her third.
And what did Duke do? They've gone in more into a gapping defense. So they're taking away penetration opportunities from South Carolina and got the turnover they wanted.
And the paint was so key to South Carolina getting that big lead in the first half. They scored 30 points in the paint in the first half alone. They're up to 42 for the game. Jackson the dump off to Donovan. A bank shot high off the window, making a 10-0 run.
Now, see, again, instead of out in passing lanes, denying, but helping on penetration. Jaden Donovan got it in the air. It almost looked like it slipped off her hand, but it slipped off just right.
Yeah, it slipped off into the bucket. Kitson mounts to Fagan. Gamecocks trying to end a 10-0 run. Kitts gets the first field goal for the Gamecocks here in the fourth quarter.
You know, these SEC, ACC challenge. We were in Athens yesterday, and Virginia Tech was able to come back on the Bulldogs. Oklahoma able to come back against Louisville. I mean, it's been a back and forth couple of days.
No lead is safe as Delaney Thomas scores and gets the answer for Duke. Fagan had the ball taken out of her hands by Mayer. Okanoa through the lane and short.
Not so easy for South Carolina to get those paint opportunities in this fourth quarter.
Man, Chloe Kitts adding to her double-double. 16 and 10. Five seconds. Donovan elevates. O'Connell blocked. Duke comes out with it.
Duke's keeping themselves alive by crashing the glass.
Mayer. And it's going to be South Carolina basketball. South Carolina trying to extend a home winning streak. They have won 61 straight at home. Duke has outscored South Carolina 15-5 in the fourth quarter.
Well, when you get stops on the defensive end, then running on the offensive end, Te-Hina and Jaden Donovan have really sparked things for the Duke Blue Devils to help them to try to chip away and keep it going in this last 4.5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, look at the stats here. Duke has taken 13 shots. South Carolina has only taken 4 shots.
And Duke has gotten on the glass. 5 offensive rebounds. That's led to 6 second chance points.
South Carolina has led by as many as 25 today. Up 10 here, approaching the 4-minute mark. Man, Chloe Kitts, look at her! Adding to her 3rd double-double of the season.
I like this move. Little drop step. And she gets the ball inside before she goes up to protect it from getting blocked.
She's got 6 points here in the fourth quarter.
We talked about the work in the weight room. When we were in Clemson, she went in, got a 15-minute workout in before the game. She was in the workout room this morning, lifting as well, and it's game day.
She wants to train like a pro. Kitts got herself a steal. Needs some help. Tessa Johnson will come get the basketball. That's 18 turnovers now by Duke.
Now South Carolina just needs to be patient. Uh-oh, I think she got away with the travel.
Thomas, the steal and score.
I like Delaney Thomas. It's a post player, run the floor. She's got a face-up game, having to play the 5 right now. Just short in the post position.
Yeah, Ariana Robertson, one of their freshmen, got hurt playing with USA Basketball this summer, so she's out for the season.
That's a rebound by Fagan.
And that foul's going to be against Jaden Donovan. That's her 4th. Well, the WNBA expansion draft for the newest franchise, the Golden State Valkyries, is tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. The 12 current teams can protect 6 players. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, you know, and you can't ask me who's going to be the major pick or the big-time pick, because nobody knows what 6 players those GMs are protecting except for the Valkyries, and so they know who they could potentially go as they put their team together.
Well, Jaden Donovan, that was actually her 5th foul, so she fouls out. 8 points tonight for Donovan. 8 rebounds to go along with it. She is their leading rebounder, and Sanaya Fagan is going to be at the free throw line shooting 2. Mayer finding a lane in the paint, and she'll bank it in.
Yeah, Duke not settling for just 3-pointers, but just getting quick strikes as soon as possible, and then trying to put together back-to-back stops.
The toss inside to Chloe Kitts. Free throws are coming.
There's Aaliyah Boston. That's Tracy with the gold glasses. That's Dawn Staley's sister, who is a cancer survivor. Aaliyah Boston, All-American. 2 years ago, WNBA Rookie of the Year.
Getting to play with Caitlin Clark now in the WNBA.
That's right. And
they got a new head coach at the Indiana Fever.
They do, Stephanie White. Lee won the second national championship for Dawn Staley.
Really nice ball movement for Duke. Back to 10-point lead for South Carolina.
Kara Lawson, I think, over pointing out things like that last play, or things they could have done all along, getting the ball in the middle of the floor and high-low action.
Mayer with the takeaway. South Carolina trapping. Akanawa swatted by Sanaya Fagan. No, ma'am. 8 blocks for South Carolina.
Sanaya Fagan has had such a huge presence inside for South Carolina. Like I said, she has been the police of the paint for the Gamecocks.
Mayer skipping across the court to Wood. Kitts coming down with the board. Up to 11 rebounds now for Chloe Kitts. She's tied her career high with 21 points.
Dawn wants to use the clock right now. You don't want to get up and down, because Duke has shown they can be dangerous. They get a few steals, make this interesting.
I mean, they're only down by 10 points. There's still a lot of time left with a minute 16 now on the clock.
Absolutely. It's all about clock management and discipline down the stretch for the last minute 16.
Clock management wise, how are you using this if you're Duke with all of their timeouts remaining?
Well, right now
16 down 10.
Yeah, you try to lengthen the game as much as possible. So you want to, after the score here, Duke's got all of their timeouts. Kara Lawson could use them to advance, try to draw up and get a 3.
Well, she can't advance yet. It's not under a minute. Mayer's going to try to score quickly, throws up a wild shot in the paint. That will stay with Duke. And they'll take a look at this.
Now, if it's Duke's basketball right now,
they're going to check possession.
ooh. That's tough to see. It looks like Kitts, was she the last one to touch it?
Oh. Or was it Delaney Thomas getting that hand in there? Number 12 in blue.
I think Thomas's right hand, I think it looked like it was off Thomas. This may be South Carolina's basketball.
I think that's your best look right there.
And if that's the case, and if South Carolina is going to take it out the full length of the court, Duke's got to foul right away. You want as little, if any, time to go off the clock and send South Carolina back to the free throw line. Got Raven Johnson, who shoots 50% from the free throw line. Chloe Kitts is the highest free throw shooter on the floor.
We're still looking at who has possession of this basketball.
From the angles we saw, I think we're right. I think it's off. I think it was off Delaney Thomas's hand.
Yeah, last as she was going up for the basketball.
Call on the floor stands. It will be Blues ball. Shot clock will be reset to 23 seconds.
Okay, so stands, meaning they couldn't see enough to overturn the call on the floor, giving it to Duke.
Oh, that to me looked like it went off Thomas, but I'm glad they've made a decision. Now they can move on. Now that it's Duke ball underneath out of bounds, they need to score quick. They can't waste a lot of time with a lot of screening option. They got to screen while the ball's out of bounds and get an open look and knock it down.
Duke still has all timeouts. Ashlyn Jackson trying to shake off Chloe Kitts, who is all over her, and Raven Johnson fighting for the rebound on the ground, calls timeout. Let's take a look at tonight's Wooden Watch presented by Principal. And a career night tonight for Chloe Kitts, tying her career high 21 points, 11 rebounds for her third double-double.
And pretty efficient with it as well. 9 of 14 from the floor. She's gotten to the free throw line, a perfect 3 for 3, and she was really the go-to for South Carolina as Duke was trying to make their run in the fourth.
Now we've seen her physicality and her toughness. A nice stat line for Chloe Kitts.
You know, her role has changed a little bit, or how she's had to play. Yes, she's playing the 4, but playing the 4 without Camila Cardoso is a different kind of 4.
How?
Well, when you're playing the 4 and you've got Camila Cardoso 6'7", you can play at the high post and just lob it, and a lot of confidence to shoot it from the free throw line area because you know you've got that rebounding there. I think it's a little more pressure to be a little more accurate when you're taking those face-up shots.
Duke got a foul right away?
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, you can't, because South Carolina can just use the clock. You either foul or you've got to try to force some turnovers.
And South Carolina's just going to get to eat up the clock here. Te-Hina Pow short on the 3.
Now, so what South Carolina doesn't want to do is foul Duke in the act of shooting.
Like that. That foul is against Te-Hina Pow. Aluchi Akanawa will go to the free throw line. She has had great energy, talking about Akanawa, number 5 in blue, all game. What a spark plug for Duke.
Well, and she did it last year as a freshman as well. It's one of the things Carol Lawson really liked about her. She's a player who can score, but she brings great energy every time she steps on the court.
Points, 5 rebounds in the second half for Akanawa. And the crowd wanted Chick-fil-A if she had missed both of those. The Gamecocks are really good at home. 62 straight home wins for South Carolina. They pick up their 3rd ranked win of the season, 81-70 over Duke.
Terrific job, especially in the first half, playing through the paint. They won that battle inside, 34-48. Got a little sloppy in that third quarter as Duke made their run, but they were able to hold on for the win in the fourth.
South Carolina used a 17-2 run early to jump ahead. They led by as many as 25, and a tally on the board for the SEC in the SEC ACC Women's Challenge. Dawn Staley will join SportsCenter in just moments. Her Gamecocks getting a win tonight at home, 81-70.
Dawn Staley joins us now. There she is. Good to see you. Congratulations on yet another win at home and another win this season. Look, Chloe Kitts had a career game. What did you see from her?
I mean, she was due. She was due the last couple of games. She got off to a good start, but it wasn't consistent throughout the game. We needed her tonight, and she came through. I mean, she's been wanting us to believe in her, and I'm telling her, we do believe in you. We do. We just had that conversation yesterday after practice. She was like, I don't think you believe it. That's not the question at all. And she comes out and proves herself time and time again, and utmost respect to Chloe, because she works extremely hard at her game, at her habits, and I'm glad basketball repaid her tonight.
She was particularly crucial down the stretch there when Duke was trying to make their run late, but everyone else also obviously played a role. What impressed you about the team as Duke was trying to press you forward?
I mean, what impressed me was Raven Johnson made all the calls. Raven Johnson called the plays to get Chloe the ball in positions where she could score, and you know that's what you do. You manage the game. You know, you go to the person that has been having a great night, and Raven, she didn't look over at the bench. She just made the call, and that's what real point guards do.
The schedule for you guys is certainly not easy. You've got 4 of the first 10 games against top 10 teams. You've got that big one Sunday against looming against at TCU. I've heard you say it doesn't give us time to let up. We just have to keep going. When you look later down this season and you look at what you were able to accomplish in these first 10 games, how does what's happening right now set you up for the tough stuff later on, say March?
I mean, we've always been a team that have played this kind of schedule. It's probably more brutal this year. It's just nobody really wanted to play us. Nobody. We couldn't get any games, so we would take any game, any program that would play us. I mean, a lot of times we're playing on neutral sites. A lot of times we're playing in tournaments away from home. I don't know. This is probably our, third or fourth home game. It takes games away from our fans being able to come and see us play, but we got to fill the schedule up, man. We like to think that we're playing in November and December for March and April.
Ma'am, do you blame them? You haven't lost a home game in 62 games. That goes back 4 years. Like, I joke that I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but 4 years of winning at home. Like, put into context what that means to you. Of all of the accomplishments that this team, this program has had, not losing in 4 years at home?
And believe it or not, the loss sticks out the most. I remember the loss. It was the Freshies. It was against NC State. And I didn't know what team took the floor that time. But it's our fams. Anytime that you could create a home court advantage, it allows you to have a, 60-something home win streak. It is our players' commitment to protecting this house, and it's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, I don't keep up with the streaks. I just keep up with how we're looking, how we're producing, how we're able to make the people here that spend their money, that budget. They budget for season tickets. They budget to come see us play on the road. And we just want to always do them proud. I'm glad a lot of them didn't come to the UCLA game.
You're allowed a bad one every once in a while. Like, she doesn't keep up with the streak. She just makes sure that they happen. All right, before we let you go, I know you're a big Eagles fan. We often see you in the Eagles gear. And so right now, it's a really close game between the Packers and the Lions, but the Lions did just retake the lead. So there's 8 minutes left in that game. I'm not on your side on this one. Go Packers.
You're not.
No,
Hey,
go Packers.
hey, let's go. Let's go, Eagles. Eagles, Super Bowl. Let's go.
All right. John Staley, thank you so much. Congratulations on yet another win.
Thank y'all.